As you all know, MEVSD is committed to excellence in service of every learner in his or her success, not only within our K-12 system but beyond. In August of this academic year, Superintendent Mencken set forth projections and commitments that meets or exceeds the standards for personalized learning on behalf of the learners in our community. On this transformational journey towards personalized learning, we, as a professional learning community, have embarked on two segments of work through professional development and collegial discourse. One segment of the personalized learning work is focused on polishing our learner-centered approaches and the instructional models across the district. While the specifics of the work vary across the district based on need, you and your colleagues have and continue to be engaged in opportunities to learn, discuss, implement, and polish learner-centered strategies at the Tier 1 instructional level. Learner-centered strategies and mindsets are an integral part of enhancing student agency, achievement, sense of hope, and self-efficacy. Much of the work around the district in the scope of learner-centered approaches has been led by building administrators, instructional coaches, and educational consultants from KnowledgeWorks. The other lens of the personalized learning transformation is termed competency-based education. While many definitions circulate within the field of education, we have examined the research, networked with other leaders in the field, and deconstructed the components of the CBE model to land on the 5 tenets of the work. Those tenets are standards-based, assessment, systematic supports, mastery, and habits of mind. Standards-based include explicit, measurable, transferable learning objectives that empower learners. Assessment is meaningful and enhances learning experiences for learners. Immediate, differentiated, systematic supports are accessible to learners based on individual learning needs. Flexible advancement upon demonstration of mastery. And habits of mind. Learning outcomes include development of wider world skills and disposition. The work in the area of CBE during the 2017-18 school year is hyper-focused on 3 of the 5 tenets: standards-based, systematic supports, and habits of mind. In order to begin to develop a standards-based approach, a local steering committee has been established in the K-6 grade band, comprised of teachers representing each grade level, instructional coaches, administrators, directors, and personalized learning coordinators. The purpose of this group is to collaboratively draft a learning continuum. A learning continuum is a tool that promotes transparency among all educational stakeholders, students, teachers, parents, and other invested entities, by laying out critical learning standards and a developmentally appropriate progression. A learning continuum is organized in a 3-tiered design. In each content area, measurement topics are representative of a group of connected learning targets. Learning targets are then supported by a proficiency scale. The proficiency scale is an attribute of a learning continuum that is especially empowering, as it articulates the progression by which the expectation for mastery for every learning target is determined and shared. While the learning standards are already organized to some degree in this fashion by grade at the state level, there are limitations, such as limited progression of proficiency, and in some cases, it can seem overwhelming or an act of futility to teach and assess with fidelity. Robert Marzano, a redeemed educational researcher, asserts that a learning continuum not only promotes necessary transparency, but also ensures teaching and assessing versus rushing and covering. Marzano's leadership in this area of work is a process by which the MEVSD Steering Committee is paralleling our work. To date, this group of colleagues have taken a thoughtful inventory of all standards within the K-6 grade bands in the content areas of reading and math. During the inventory, they use a guidance to hone in on the critical standards and coded them as such. The remaining standards were coded as helpful or supplementary. These helpful and supplementary standards do not lose their importance in the instructional cycle, as they fit within the critical standards at earlier complexity levels and will most likely find themselves represented within the proficiency scales attached to each learning target. Once critical, helpful, and supplementary standards were coded, The team collaborated to suggest a developmentally appropriate sequence of skill or knowledge across the grade bands. During this tuning portion of the process, we checked for gaps, overrepresentation, underrepresentation, and we addressed each issue. The group is completing the tuning process now in order to have a drafted model to share with their colleagues. The team has done exceptional work and have represented the district with professionalism and excellence. We're excited to put the reading and math continuums in a format for you to review and provide input soon. The goal is to have a continuum built in each of the content areas as the year progresses. As K-6 continuum work continues, the work will catapult and generate traction in the 7-8 grade band. Steering committee representative from the 7-8 grade band will be initiating their work after Christmas break and then into the 9-12 grade band next school year. The hopeful outcome is that by 2020, a learning continuum for each content will empower our K-12 learning community, which will also anchor the CBE tenets of assessment and mastery. Mastery learning pedagogy will be empowered as proficiency scales will promote a mastery competency framework, and assessment alignment will work in service of those as well. We're proud to share that systematic supports across the district are strengthening. The data-informed decision-making framework in the area of K-6 literacy is addressing reading with a very clinical approach. The alignment of this work is benefiting students, equipping teachers with the immediate data and tools they need to strengthen their Tier 1 instruction, and providing our leadership with predictive information like never before. The correlative strength of this data, aligned with reading and math literacy measures and their educational future, is undeniable. This type of approach and information will undoubtedly close gaps and promote achievement, as well as impact supports in other educational areas. We will highlight some of these approaches in our next district message. While academics are of high value, we've also committed to acknowledging the power of wider world skills and dispositions among our learners. Those non-academic skills are often termed 21st century skills, soft skills, wider world skills, habits of mind, just to name a few. Upon the establishment of Marysville's Early College High School, part of their visioning and identity process included habits of mind. This work was both learner-centered and critical to their success. As we embarked on a learner-centered focus, the leadership team felt a strong need to ensure habits of mind were given thoughtful consideration in the vision and identity within each school across the district. While no mandate for the habits of mind were predetermined at the district level, it is by no mistake that our recoined identity models our commitment to this approach: innovate, collaborate, inspire. We feel this is not only imperative for student success, but also for our professional community. It's been an exciting process to watch each of the 10 schools in our district either strengthen their vision and identity to include habits of mind or redesign altogether. Design teams, BLT, even student groups were given autonomy in each building to land on habits of mind to engage in the work. The outcomes have been game changers for some buildings, and there's even a module in place to help ensure learners stay at the center of this focus as we use our academic content to enhance our development of the skills we all know will increase their abilities as learners and contributors to the wider world on which they will embark upon graduation from Marysville School. We hope you've benefited from this district communication style and format. We commit to continue this messaging style to ensure all of you have updates and access to the incredible work going on throughout the district. There is no doubt we work on behalf of our students, every student. And this work is just another illustration of our willingness to continually, courageously take on challenges and innovation that positively impact learning.